when I use the bathroom, I feel like an outcast because I always get looks no matter what bathroom I go into. Like, I've talked to the principal and I've talked to teachers about it, and they're not willing to say, you can use this bathroom or you can use this one with us supporting that.
What bathroom do they want you to go to?
They want me to use the women's bathroom. I try to explain because it's really uncomfortable for me to be there because it's being around people that I don't identify with, and I feel like people question my identity when I use the bathroom.
A lot of the things that we dealt with back in the day, I guess what they call it, were very different because they didn't have words for gay and lesbian. We were sissies, we were fags, we were punks. When I had fights at school, a lot of them were about being homosexual or, again, about the suspicion of being homosexual. The bullies would, corner me in the locker room, take my lunch money, threaten to beat me up after school. It was a roller coaster ride.
A counselor and I started talking about this. We had had several experiences where kids had talked to us and opened up about their sexuality, and we decided that it was something we should start at our school.
A lot of kids come out to me for whatever reason. I'm like kind of a safe teacher, and I always make a point of saying, like, wow, that's amazing. You're gonna have a wonderful life. Thank you so much for telling me. I'm so proud of you. All the good things that I think LGBTQ students never hear. I had a student who came out as lesbian and was kicked out of her house.
People would tease, say no homo.
I chose to start a GSA here at our high school.
My name is Jacoya and I'm bisexual.
My name is Caden and I'm a trans guy. I'm pansexual.
My name's Brady. I'm a gay guy.
I'm Jason. I'm a trans guy. I'm gay.
Everyone is like expecting you to act a certain way. I try to blend in with everyone, but it's hard because I'm kind of, I'm like a different person. I don't like being following the crowd. But when you go to a school where mostly everyone follows the crowd, it's kind of hard for you to blend in.
In the hallways, you just hear all of this chitter-chatter, and you hear at least gay, fag, or something 5 times in those conversations. And I have had many a times where I've gone into school with a great mood, and when I reach that and hear that and realize that I've woken up and still here, it just puts you in a bad mood, and you can't focus. You can't really pay attention to what you're supposed to be learning or what you're supposed to be doing at that time, and school is supposed to be a place of education and learning, and you feel safe at school, and you're not, and it makes it very, very difficult to do the task at hand.
I know I was in the hallway and someone touched my chest and was like, oh, what is that? And I went to the next class playing, is that really what people think of me? Like, is that the only thing that matters? And that's the only thing I could think about in class, not what we had to get done work-wise, but that thought.
That's so gay. Every time someone says, oh, that's gay, I don't like that, that's gay, it just makes me think in my mind, okay, this person is not a safe person to come out to. This person doesn't understand me, doesn't want to understand me. And so it just makes the whole environment very unsafe, and that makes me feel very unsettled. They'll just blatantly just call me she or use my old name. It just makes me feel really down about myself. And it's really hard to shake that. When it happens too much during a day, I just want to go home and call it quits.
There are definite consequences to learning for students who are LGBTQ because the issues around identity and safety are bigger than, the Federalist Papers. It's more important for me to feel, if I'm a student, to feel safe in the place that I go to learn than to do the learning. So until those kids feel safe, that they can walk down the hall without being called names, that they can go to the bathroom in safety, that their teachers and their administrators care about them, until those students feel that, then they're not fully open to doing the learning that they came to school to do.
You're being bullied because of the bully's attitude about you being gay, which is a very, very different thing. And that places the problem on the person who's doing the bullying as opposed to the person who's the target. The target is not the problem. It's who's firing the shot is really the problem. And I think the more they place it on looking at how do you get those kids to stop bullying and looking at the issues that they're dealing with or not dealing with. You're this or you're that, and you're being targeted because of this. You're being targeted because somebody else is having an attitude about who you are.
I'm a senior in high school, and going through all 4 years, essentially being the odd kid out, inhibits you because you feel like if you raise your hand, you're going to get called out for something that isn't even relative to what it is just because you identify as gay. It makes you afraid to ask certain questions or do certain things because of the fear of someone calling you out or embarrassing you in class.
The people that end up being the target of the bullying, a lot of times we tend to dumb down so that we don't stand out in the crowd. We want to blend in. Many times we end up selling ourselves short and not being as accomplished and maybe not showing as much talent as we actually do have.
Probably my second year of teaching drama, and I had a student who came into class, and he was probably more flamboyant than some of the other students, and everybody in the school knew him, and they even gave him a nickname. Teachers knew him by the nickname, and it was derogatory. Administrators knew him by the nickname, and I finally got to meet this student, and I think that in order to break free from that stereotype that everybody had given him, he actually just decided to go with it wholeheartedly, and so everyone just kind of knew him as this derogatory name. And I think that was the first time I realized that we could actually physically, the whole entire building was singling out one student because of his sexuality. And there were other students that we all knew they were homosexual, but this one student, everybody knew him as being gay. And I think it really held him back in a lot of different ways.
I mean, it's hard going to school and then, at home, not having any role models. And I just wish that a teacher would step in and just be like, oh, well, what you're going through is hard, and, right now, I'm just going to help you along with this, and, if you need someone to talk to, I'm there to talk to you.
Got it.
If there were no GSA in our school, I think our students they'd be sad. I think it's really opened up a lot of doors for them. I don't know what I would do without GLSEN. I think that being someone who identifies as straight, but as an ally, I feel like I've learned so much from them. I've gone to a lot of their youth summit organizations. I've done a couple different groups during the summer that I've gone to, and they have helped me so much just with getting activities, with knowing how to start a group, how to teach kids how to be leaders. I don't know what I would do without them. And our kids love gay prom, and that's something they look forward to every single year. And they're just an amazing organization.
When you hear a lot of media about it gets better, do you feel like that's something that relates to you? Do you feel like, not the campaign, but just the idea of it getting better, does that relate to all of you?
Why do we have to wait for it to get better? Why
Absolutely.
are we the ones who have to suffer for this period of time until it gets better, theoretically, if it gets better? And they just get to go on their merry way bullying, and it almost justifies the bullying. It gets better. They can torture you and beat you and call you names and hurt you now, but later on they can't. That's bad later on. I find it almost makes me angry when I hear it gets better. I don't want it to get better. I want it to be better now.
Things that have not gotten better are the grown-ups. I think the grown-ups don't get it. The grown-ups think being gay is something you do for fun or to shock people, or that it's something that you can control in ways that teenagers can't. I was recently talking to a student who said when I went to my guidance counselor to talk about why I was being bullied, the guidance counselor repeatedly said, well, what can you do to change the situation? The idea that a student should be changing their behavior because they're being bullied is a problem, and that doesn't come from the students, that comes from the adults for whom LGBTQ issues are still really taboo, and they don't have a wide range of experience, and they don't know how to act, they don't know what to say, and they really make the situation pretty terrible.
And at the same time, some individuals, I think a lot of times their prejudices kind of even keep them from creating a safe environment. They just say, go down to Miss Bachhold's room. She'll tell you all about it. Go talk to Miss Bachhold about that. I don't feel comfortable. I think they have to kind of see that the school in general is supposed to be a safe space for all students. And I think a lot of them need to really put their own prejudices aside and just kind of accept students for being just that, students.